Hey everybody, my name is Rydo and we are back to her story. Let us continue. We're going through all of the interviews in order using the blank search term trick. We are now starting with the interview that happened on the 27th day of the 6th month, 1994. That is practically 12 days later, and I think we're gonna quickly find that they found Simon. Let's play.
No, it's okay. The other detective has just gone to get me one.
So there's like two detectives here. We think one of them has ginger hair. We know from a later video that one of the detectives claims he cheated on his wife. But we don't know if they're the same detective
as long as it's black
every
and strong,
time.
I'm good.
That's strange that the detective went to get the coffee and then now they're talking about what he came back with. So I assume he said all they had was a plain black coffee. Or maybe he specifically asked, is plain black coffee okay?
Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. The blood. It's probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
So yes, they found the body. It seems like she found the body. I mean, they couldn't even find it.
I have a really fast metabolism, so stuff like that just comes and goes. I don't know if there's much more that I can tell you that I haven't already told the other policemen. I found the body.
So, the first couple of interviews he was missing, now she's found the body.
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help?
And so the very first phrase in the game was murder, so this was actually the very first video you would have seen if you had done the suggested term, search of murder, which I think jumps you into the story a little bit better.
It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Sam's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff we never needed and I never had the heart to throw out. And I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over. I went down there with a torch and went straight to the back, and that's when I saw the bin bags. Pulled them open, saw the body. I screamed and that's when I called the police.
So she finds the body the 27th day, it seems like. And again, I'll say that she's using the British term torch, which means flashlight. She didn't go down there with a flaming stick.
His body didn't look real. And his throat. It looked like his throat had been cut. And I didn't see his glasses. There's these thick glasses. It doesn't always work.
So what's weird about that is she repeated that same sentence before, and I think for the game to actually work, she kind of has to repeat everything she says at least a couple of times, which then brings suspicion why she's just saying the same things over and over again.
No. The whole thing was wrong. The bags, I think they were from our kitchen. You can probably check that. We never go into the cellar. It's just a place we put things we don't need. Dad used to grow mushrooms there. The bags were taped up. I think it was parcel tape, but I think it was ours.
So bin bags are trash bags too, if you didn't catch on to that.
I wasn't in the house.
So what's funny is the story is gonna change pretty soon.
I wasn't in the house all of Friday night. After the argument, after Simon left, I left too. I was upset and I wanted to get away, so I took the car.
So now the story seems to be evolving and growing.
I got in the car and I drove. I just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep.
So you would not be wrong to come to the belief that she's making up the story. But there's a lot more to that than it's just she's lying.
I left the next day, Saturday.
And
I slept
the
for a few hours in
more
the car.
is the part you could easily
When I
miss.
woke up, I came straight back. Simon wasn't returning my calls and I wanted to try and make up. I got back to the house and Simon wasn't there. And I... Is there a bin?
So that's a big clue that she vomits there, too.
Yes, I'm fine. I won't be sick again. This happens some days. I'm pregnant. It's morning sickness.
So here's our first, audio cue. And if we look at the percentage seen, it's not like we've even gotten to maybe 25% there, or not. I just think that there are some videos that are very important to see, and that's probably one of them.
No. Well, yes. He found out on my birthday. I told him I was pregnant.
So the story is growing, and you kind of can assume that the argument is probably involving the pregnancy somewhat.
Yes. It was a shock to him. I mean, we never thought it was possible. I don't know what he... I mean, I hadn't decided whether to keep the baby. I wasn't really ready to talk to him about it.
And here we got the music still going. So we're really starting to see as we get down below 200 videos, how we're starting to see some important details. Those first couple of interviews really didn't give us that much.
It was late, early Saturday morning.
I was probably asking when she got back from Glasgow.
Yeah. I pulled over and slept in the car. This was just by the side of the road. I was exhausted.
But see, even that story grows. Every story she tells grows.
I think when I drove back it was about 8 or something. And I got back to the house about 3.
Why the story grows is always
When
up
you
for
suspect someone of
question.
murdering their husband. Okay. So you want to eliminate me as a suspect?
Moving on. See how it says suspected
Okay.
2 videos right back.
Sounds weird. I'm not great at making up stories.
So then you have this whole section that's really weird, where they just have her tell stories based on these pictures he shows her.
Okay.
I don't know if this
There's
is
a girl
some
and
kind of
she's staring out of the
psyche
window.
bell or trick,
She's sad.
metaphorical
She's trapped. She's here.
confession technique.
She's
perhaps?
looking out the window because her mother won't let her out.
And you're like, what has this got to do with anything? She's just interpreting the pictures.
It's Rapunzel. The story starts when she's born. Mother Gothel, a witch, takes Rapunzel from her parents and keeps her locked up in this tower. Rapunzel gets pregnant by the prince, and Mother Gothel is furious, so she cuts off her hair and throws it. Actually, her hair's already short here, so that's already happened. So she throws her into the wilderness, and Rapunzel is reunited with the prince, who's blind, but she kills him with her tears, and so it's a happy ending. Is that too much?
And there's like 5 videos of this.
Sorry. The picture, the way it's drawn, just reminded me of the books we used to read as children. I read those fairy tales over and over, and they were so real to me. Rapunzel was my favourite. My brain is just full of it. Are any of these in colour?
So that might be a clue that could drive you a different direction watching that.
Yes. Like a story. A beginning, a middle, and an end.
The red interview went on a lot longer than the first 2, it feels like. Red coat interview, 27/6/94.
She has a knife. She's been cooking, I guess. She's been cooking him his favourite meal. She's his wife. He's asleep and she doesn't want to wake him because he's ill. That's why she's sad. Because he's ill and he might die. It's kind of a sad story, so I'm not sure it is.
See, and that video might be actually a clue to not Simon's death, but the parents' death.
She's crying, I guess. She's sad because she thought she saw her husband with another woman. But it's okay, because she finds out it wasn't her husband, it was his brother. And so it's fine.
So, that would be one piece of information that might point you to believing that Simon had a twin and he ran off with, is still alive. I don't believe that to actually be true, though.
Okay. She's being chased. They're trying to catch her because she did something bad. I guess she broke the rules. Or maybe they think she did something bad. Maybe it wasn't her fault. She looks scared, not guilty. Maybe it was mistaken identity. Did they catch her there? I don't know.
So all of those really are all of the major stories just being retold from her interpretation. It really is a subconscious confession of everything that we're going to see later.
Did I pass? Sorry, I messed it up with all that Rapunzel stuff. Do you need me to do that card again?
Yeah. That is actually quite more
I read a lot as a child and
the second time
watched lots of TV. Then the doll's house we had, we still have in the attic. It's kind of a fairy castle. We used to play up there and make up our own stories.
And no, she says we quite a lot.
From when I woke up. Okay. I woke up. Simon was already up and he made me birthday breakfast of eggs Benedict. We both had to go to work, so we saved presents till later. I got to work, had some birthday cake, children sang me happy birthday, then I came home. The birthday meal was a takeaway, and Simon gave me his present, which I didn't mind. And after that, we talked about the baby. It turned into a big argument. Simon left. I was furious. I wanted to get as far away as I could and get some space to think. So I left.
So the story has definitely grown. At first they had an argument over the gift. Now she doesn't. She said she didn't mind the gift. And they're arguing about the baby that didn't even get mentioned before.
Yes. I got to Glasgow. I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car. I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from the payphone, and then headed back.
Way more details in that telling of the story than before.
Let me see. Yes. I drove in here because I remember well I went over the river, and then there was a church there. Yeah. And I probably parked. Well, I remember seeing a street sign called Princess Street. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it must be this one. There.
See, she's giving detailed directions as far as where she drove.
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, you must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
So the watch here is the only thing they would potentially eliminate her, but not really. it's pretty easy to change the time on a clock. In fact, speaking of clocks that are not at the right time, the clock here quite thematically is never at the right time. It is always pointing at this point to right about then, and then this and the minute and the second hand actually do read your computer's clock, but it's always pointing at 7 up. And another red herring in that video, because people got caught up with the steel gift being a 10th anniversary gift. Not really. I don't think steel is the 10th anniversary, but maybe it is. But it seems like people on the internet. And again, I just think the creators of these games didn't research some of the details quite enough, or they just threw in red herrings for no reason, just to throw people off.
I didn't. I slept in the car. I left about 9 that night. I mean, I wasn't there. No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
So what's funny about this is that if you had seen just the watch video that she says that must exonerate me, and gotten to 50% of the database being seen and not seen anything else, you could probably just assume that she was totally innocent.
Ask the hospital.
Which doesn't even ring as a possible option at the end of the game. She's assumed to be guilty of something at the end of the game.
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
So those things must have actually happened, or you assume they happened. At least if she's gonna offer up, go ask the hospital, go look at the scratch on the car. But again, this is just detail to the story that's not been said. She's told the I was in Glasgow story about 4 times at this point, and just now she's saying she hit a car and went to the hospital.
That should eliminate me as a suspect. If I was in Glasgow, can't be in 2 places at once. I thought it made me sound suspicious. It's not a normal thing to do, to drive to the other end of the country. I wanted to keep it simple. I know it was stupid not to tell you everything. Saying I spent the night in Glasgow when my husband went missing, I thought it would, distract you from what was important. It's different now. Now he's...
So yeah, here's her explanation to why she hasn't been telling us the full truth up to this point.
No. Everyone loved Simon. He's a glazier, he doesn't have much money. I don't know. I don't know.
So what's interesting about this video is it's like they just start a whole new line of questioning there. Instead of continuing down eliminating her, they're now asking her if she knows if anybody else would want to hurt him.
God, I don't know. Could be anyone. Maybe someone followed him back from the pub. But why would he let them in? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, I had to let myself in. The door locks if it swings too.
The door automatically locks?
Yes. I always pull it shut and then lock the bigger lock with the key.
And then it has a deadbolt type second lock that she locks, but it automatically locks the handle lock, it seems like.
No, I don't think it was. I turned the key but it was already unlocked.
When she got back, the door was unlocked, she's saying?
No, they were shut. Most of the windows are really hard to open anyway. It's stifling in summer. They were painted over by my dad. Could have left a door open accidentally. Or there's a cat flap in the back door. No cat.
The
My parents had a
infamous
cat before they died
cat
called
flap.
Domino. It was this little black thing
Red
with
herring.
white dots. And we never did anything about the cat flap, but if you were thin, you could maybe squeeze through it. I think so. I mean, to get into our garden, we'd have to climb through other gardens. All the gardens back onto each other, so you'd have to climb over 1, 2, 3 gardens to get to ours. I mean, did anyone see anything? Did anyone see anyone come and go? An intruder?
I think we're getting close to the
Oh,
end
will the
of
police
this
let me back in the
interview.
house? They let me take a bag of clothes with me, but the mirror. I can't remember. I put it somewhere safe. Upstairs, I think. I haven't looked at it since.
So, it's important to remember that there was nobody in the house right now while she's being interviewed. Just that's a good detail to know. Man, and we're gonna finish up here. We just got through one interview this recording.
Simon's parents offered to put me up, but I didn't think it would be a good idea. It would be too sad. Not right now. I'm staying at a friend's.
And that leaves us with the next interview to start with next time, and we have 163. I believe we were somewhere around 271 before, so we've already done 100 and almost 110 thereabout. I don't want to do the actual math there. So kind of halfway, sorta. It kind of feels more like we're 1/3 of the way, but who knows? It may start going a little bit faster with some of these later videos too. Particularly the lie detector test are going to be very fast videos because there's not a lot of dialogue there. Anywho, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps me out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.